598, I just wanted to do a quick video to just recap what we did during the Zoom sessions on Monday. So what we looked at was we reviewed lesson 2.6, which both the classes had done, but it was a little while ago, a lot to think about since then. So we just reviewed mean, median, and mode, and a couple things from 2.6, and then we looked through lesson 2.7. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of both of those things. Okay, so first we reviewed mean, median, and mode. Okay, so remember that mean is another word we often say average. So to find the mean, we take the sum of the numbers that we're given, or the data, and we divide by how many numbers there are. Okay, so if we're given 5 test scores to find the mean, we would add them up and then divide by 5. The median, to find the median, we put the numbers in order from smallest to largest. Okay, and then the median is the middle number or the mean of the two middle numbers. So this depends on whether we have an even number of data points or an odd. So let's pretend I just had 3 numbers. I had 3, 8, and 11. Okay. If I have 3, 8, and 11, then 8, the middle number, once they're in order from smallest to largest, this middle number is my median. If I had 4 values, then they're in order when I go from both ends to the middle. If it helps, you can cross off one on each side. I have 2 numbers in the middle. So then I would find the mean. I'd add those up and divide by 2, and my median now would be 9. Okay? And then to find the mode, this is the number that happens the most often. So you can remember this by MO for most often and MO for mode. There can be one mode, there can be more than one mode, or there can be no mode. So this can get a little bit tricky if we're not careful. So for example, if I have data that's 3, 4, 5, 5, okay? The mode here is going to be 5. If I have 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, then I have 2 modes. My modes are 4 and 5 because they both happen more often than other numbers, and they happen the same number of times. If though I have 2 3s, 2 4s, and 2 5s, so that again they all happen the same number of times, now I have no mode. So the mode has to be the winner or the winners, whatever happens the most. Okay. So that's just a quick review of mean, median, and mode. One of the things that I know both classes talked about when we did 2.6 was talking about the mean and finding a group of numbers that had a specific mean. So we did things like find a set of 5 numbers with a mean of 10. Okay? So what that means is that when I take the sum of those numbers and I divide it by 5, because there are 5 of them, that's going to have to equal 10, because that's how I find a mean. I take the sum of my numbers, I divide by 5, that's going to be my mean. Okay? So this also gives us a clue, actually all the information we need to know what that sum of numbers is. All right? So one way to do it is to multiply these two. We talked about that in my class. Kind of, if I multiply this by 5, this cancels this out. If I multiply this by 5, then to even it out, my sum has to equal 50. Or you can just think about what number divided by 5 would equal 10. It has to be 50. So that gives us the information to make any group of numbers that we want, any group of 5 numbers that has to have a mean of 10. So I could have all 10s, right? If you get 10 on every single assignment, you're going to have an average of 10. If I add these up, it would be 50 divided by 5 is going to be 10. We could also have sets of numbers that look a little different. We could have something like 0, 0, 15, 20, let's see, that's 35, and another 15. Those aren't in order anymore, right? So we have to be careful if we're finding the median. But again, this adds up to 50. I divide by 5. My average is going to be 10. Okay? I could have 0, 0, 0, 0, 50. Right? Or I could have any combination that I want as long as they add up to 50. So this is similar. My class did a little worksheet on it. I think my new class, I don't believe did the worksheet, but you talked about this with lesson 2.6. And lesson 2.6 had that table of college students' credit card debt. And there were four groups of students that had been asked. And every single one of them, those groups, the mean was 4,100, even though some of them all had 4,100. One of them, 4 people had 0 debt, and one person had $20,000 worth of debt. Same idea, okay? Because they all added up to the same thing, when you divided by 5, you got that same average. So that was one thing you talked about. Also, we can also ask to find a set of numbers with a mean of 10, let's say, and a median of, let's say, 8, okay? Well, the median has to be the number in the middle when they're going from smallest to largest. So not only now do they have to have a sum of 50, but this number right here must be 8. And I have to go from smallest to largest with this number in the middle. So I still just need numbers that add up to 50. Maybe I say this is 5, and this is 6, and this is 8, and this is 20. Oops, actually, let's take that out. Let's make that a little smaller. Let's say we make this 10. Okay, so 5 and 6 is 11. 11 and 8 is 19. 19 and 10 is 29. So I would still need 21 more to get to 50. Okay, just be careful when you, if I had originally, like I said, I was going to do maybe 20 here. Okay, if I had done that, I would only need 11 here. Just be careful, because then I'd have to switch those to make sure they were in order from smallest to largest. If you do that, just make sure that your median still is in the middle, or you'll have to switch your numbers a little bit, change them. Okay, so that was really what we reviewed yesterday from lesson 2.6. Then in lesson 2.7, we kind of touched on a few things. So lesson 2.7 starts in your book on page 237. So if you have that in front of you, that would be good. And on the bottom of the first page, you see these 3 advertisements. So we're going to look at those and just kind of see how the mean, median, mode can be very helpful, but they can also, if you're not careful, you can kind of make assumptions that maybe aren't always true. So the first one says, these are employment ads. Sales positions available. We have immediate need for 5 enthusiastic self-starters who love the outdoors and who love people. Our salespeople make an average of $1,000 per week. Now, if you read that and you're looking for a job, it kind of jumps out at you that, oh, you can make $1,000 a week, right? That's what we're all going to be thinking. We're going to make $1,000. It doesn't say that everybody makes $1,000, though. It says their salespeople make an average of $1,000 per week. Okay, now that could be that all their salespeople, you could look at all their salespeople for 1 week. We don't know how many salespeople there are, but let's pretend there are 5. Okay. Maybe, those 5 people, they could all make $1,000. Okay, and if I added those up, I'd get $5,000. 5,000 divided by 5 would be 1,000. That'd be an average of $1,000 among their salespeople. Or it might be the case that some of these salespeople only make a little bit per week, right? Maybe some of them only make $200 or $300. But if this guy over here makes $4,100, then if I added these all up, they would add up to 5,000. I divide by 5. You can still safely, truthfully say that these salespeople made an average of $1,000 a week. Okay. Now we could also think of this the other way. Maybe this is your one salesperson and this is what they made in 5 weeks, right? But either way, it doesn't mean that every week you're going to come home with $1,000, right? It could even mean for 5 people or 5 weeks, maybe 4 of those people made nothing that week. One salesperson made 5,000. It's still mathematically true that the average here is 1,000. So they're not saying anything untruthful. Just I always tell my class to be informed consumers of information, right? So just think about an average of $1,000 does not mean that everyone is guaranteed to always get $1,000. Okay. Excuse me. The next one says, are you above average? Our company is hiring 1 person this month. Will you be that person? We pay the top percentage commission and supply you leads. Half of our sales force makes over $3,000 per month. Again, that's what your eye and your brain are drawn to, right? That half of their sales force makes over $3,000 a month. It doesn't give you a lot more information than that, though. So let's say we had 4 salespeople here. Well, if half of them make over $3,000 a month, then these 2 are both going to do that. We don't know, they might just make $3,001. That's still truthfully over $3,000. And these guys might make just under $3,000, right? Or again, it could be, extreme. I sort of like to look at the extreme differences. So these 2 people might make well under that. This person might make $3,001 and this person might make $10,000, right? Just knowing that half of them make over $3,000 doesn't exactly tell us how they're split out, okay? And similarly, you can look at the third ad there. It talks about real estate, home sales, and that, again, the average commission was $1,500 on each sale. If someone sold a mansion, that could have pulled up that average, right? Everyone else's could have been pretty small, and then that larger commission pulled that up. All right, I'm going to stop this video here before I run out of time to upload it. And then I'm going to start another one in just a second, and we'll just go over the last little bit of 2.7. Okay, so I'll be right back with the next page of 2.7.